How do you change the world? Love is the answer, of course. How do you do love? Love is so big. And maybe like me, you've missed a class growing up. So I'm in remedial sessions, but I'm learning. And in 1 Corinthians 13, we get glimpses of what this life-changing love can be. Love is kind. So I want to encourage you this week to practice kind love. And maybe first of all, it's practicing receiving love from God in that way. Practice receiving God's kind love. I think the problem in our lives is we make God into images of ourselves, right? We make God into this super being who maybe is more judgmental, angry, irritated, frustrated, disappointed in us than we could dream. Even more than we are, huh? But if we read Scripture, it's very clear God is love. And then in 1 Corinthians we find love is kind. So if I put those two together in my mind, God is kind. God is kind. And a part of love being the cure. I read a quote this week that says, love is the cure. Love cures people, both for those who give it and for those who receive it. So what about practicing receiving the kind love of God this week and soaking in that love, taking it in, experiencing it, knowing that God isn't like us, bigger and better and more loving and kind eternally than we could ever imagine. And maybe in just soaking in that for a few minutes each day, we'll come to know the surpassing love of God that surpasses knowledge, huh? I think the second way to practice love is kind this week is to practice being kind to ourselves. I am harsh on myself. I am hard on myself for a lot of different reasons, but I wonder if you are too, huh? And we punish ourselves so much. We're so harsh and hard on ourselves. How can we give to others what we will not give to ourselves? How can I give kindness to others if I'm not giving it to myself? So will you and I practice being kind to ourselves this week? It was King Solomon who said in Proverbs, our souls are nourished and nurtured when we are kind, and our souls are destroyed when we are cruel. And I don't think that has to do with just towards others, but also towards ourselves, doesn't it? So practice being kind to yourself this week. I read a quote that says something like this: we are convinced that if we criticize ourselves, it will lead to change. We're convinced that if we are harsh towards ourselves, that we'll end up somehow being kind. We're convinced that if we shame ourselves, that it will lead to love. Well, this has not been true for a moment. It never has been and never will be. Shame only leads to shame. Love leads to love. So practice being kind to yourself this week. And lastly, we practice in a myriad of ways being kind to others, practicing kind love with others. And that's the opportunity. Was it Thoreau who said, the great portion of people's lives is simply made up of numerous, innumerable, unremembered small acts of kindness. And I think it was the poet Rumi who said, our acts of kindness are like iridescent wings of divine love that continue to uplift people long after we've been kind to them. So what a way to impact people. And I'll leave you with this from Og Mandino, prolific author, who wrote something like this and says, everyone you meet today, treat them as if they would be dead by midnight. And give them all the love, understanding, care, and kindness that you can muster up. And do this with no thought of any reward. And he says, your life will never be the same again. So some thoughts on kindness, and look for it this week, because if you can see it out there, it means it's already within you. And it's not just in you, you are it. You are love, you are kindness, and it's just removing the barriers. for its full expression. So, until next time, may you live all the days of your life.